Just for this weekend, it's Captain Bulldog with the Ryder Cup in mind. Captain Bulldog. You will never hear the announcers refer to Keegan Bradley as Keegan Bradley this weekend. It's got to be Captain Bradley, or else they'll be fired. Like when Gary McCord talked about how the Masters greens were bikini waxed.
Now I want to turn the sound on this Golf Channel panel that we're watching, just to hear if they all refer, because he's I believe that is that's Keegan Bradley sitting right there, right?
Yes.
And is that Luke Donald, the European captain? Okay.
Yes.
Captain Donald.
Captain Donald. Captain Brian Koziol with us on the Wester Hotline. Brian is off to the Ryder Cup tonight. I'm guessing this isn't your first one, but it might be.
This is the first Ryder Cup that I will have attended,
is?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Good. How cool.
I've gotten to 3 of the 4 major championships. In fact, lots of U.S. Opens and PGAs, but never a British Open, I guess, which makes, travel sense-wise. But no, this will be my first Ryder Cup in person, so I'm excited and curious to see what spectating this event will look like.
Right. But you were at the U.S. Open when it was at Bethpage, right?
Yes, both of them. 02 Tiger, okay. 09 Glover, and I would say a long course to walk. I mean, I'm sure maybe people that are listening have played it, so they know what it's like. It's a course that is known for being tough. They have that famous sign on the first tee that says only skilled golfers only for the black course. But yes, I have not been there for a Ryder Cup. From what I've been told from people that have gone there, is that spectating, while they said it's as good of an atmosphere as maybe you'd have at a sporting event, it's also can be challenging to spectate because, think about a crowd that was at Oak Hill for a major. It's about the same crowd. They're expecting maybe about 30,000 or so there. But at Oak Hill, there's 2 sets of groups on every hole spread out over 18 holes, and you've got spectators all over 18 holes. Whereas here, there's only 4 groups. So there's only golf on 4 holes. Now, I'm sure that it's going to be 20 and 30 deep, if you really want to spectate, unless you strategically get ahead, but then you're waiting a while and not watching any golf. So that part of it, I guess, I'm just, trying to figure out, what's going to be the best tactic to see the most golf swings at the end of the day.
How much, if at all, do you know, have they done things to this course for this event since you were last there, or is it pretty much just it's already that hard and we don't really have to trick it up?
Yeah, so from what I've been reading from a lot of people that are there already is that the rough is down from what it was when the majors had played here. The PGA had been here also. That was a Koepka win. I want to say late 2010s. Can't remember the year off my head. But the rough is down. I'm sorry, but down. I mean, it's not as thick, I should say. Right. So that they're also saying that right off the fairway too, that it's not that penalizing. That usually the most penalizing is around the green. So I'm guessing that was on purpose, Chris, that the U.S. team tends to be a team that maybe wants to be a little bit more aggressive off the tee. They've got big bombers like the Shambo and thinking hey, if we're going to give our guys a chance to maybe, flourish at what they do best, we want them to hit driver as much as possible. So I think that might be a strategy that they're utilizing. Hey, why do we want to tighten the fairways and make this thick and play like a U.S. Open when we want DeChambeau to hit driver on every hole. We want Scheffler to go after on every hole. So I think that's probably what is in line. The home team essentially has a say in course setup and what tees they're gonna in terms of the tee box placement and the pin placements and all that sort of stuff to try to strategically help their squad. So I know traditionally we've seen that when Europe hosts it, they like to tighten the fairways, turn it into more of a discipline sort of thing because Europe thinks that they can play that game better than the U.S. team.
It's nice that that's so out in the open, that we all know this, that the home country or the home team can, again, trick up the course in some way. I think this happens in other sports, like in baseball. Sometimes they grow the infield grass in or something, but it's sort of you're not supposed to know it. They wouldn't admit it. If the Yankees were playing a team that they just wanted to bunt all weekend or something, and they just let's just not cut the grass.
Right.
But they would never admit it. Here, though, this is what we're going for. I was wondering, so here it is a few minutes after 4, and they had been announcing that the pairings for tomorrow morning would be announced here on the Golf Channel that we're watching at 4, and I'm figuring it's going to be this long, drawn-out ceremony or something. No, the two captains are just sitting at the table, and they both read them off, Brian.
That's great.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean,
the one thing I know that I think is interesting about the Ryder Cup, and I don't know if I like it or I don't like it, is that it's blind. Like Bradley does it, at least that's what it's been in the past, where like they just say these are my 4 groups in this order. They don't necessarily know what each other is doing at that point. So, that's a piece of it too, that it's blind. You really don't know what the other team is sending out first. I kind of wish maybe, would it be better if they could go back and forth and say, Group 1 of the players is Scotty Scheffler, and then Europe can kind of huddle, like, all right, we want to put out Rahm against him, or should we save him for Group 2? I don't know. But ultimately, yeah, you're right. They just throw out their lineup, and that's what it is.
One mulligan. You can give them each one mulligan with their lineup.
I learned that today for the first time, reading a story about how DeChambeau and McIlroy were both talking about how it would be, cool, fun, whatever, if they squared off, and that within that story, it was said what you guys just mentioned, that they just you put your lineup in and you don't know, there's no matching that happens, and I never knew that until today.
I'm sure. Well, I'm not sure. I would guess there are times when there's sort of like wink, wink, maybe for a singles match or something where like everybody wants a certain matchup for some reason, and they just agree to do it even though it's like not official. But yeah, I mean, most of the time it's like this. Well, McIlroy will not get DeChambeau tomorrow morning. I don't know about the afternoon. But DeChambeau and Justin Thomas are first off for the U.S. against Rahm and Hatton. So that's the first game. And foursomes means alternate shot, right? Like this, there's foursomes and then 4-ball in the afternoon.
That's correct. Foursomes is alternate shot, and then 4-ball, that means 4 balls are in play. And whichever of the 2 U.S. players has the better score on the hole, that was what counts. And obviously for Europe, the same way would follow. So I don't know why they don't just say alternate shot and best ball, but they try to make it a little more fancier, I guess. But yes, foursomes means alternate shot. And then in the afternoon, 4-ball means the better score counts. The best ball score counts for the afternoon. And normally, again, it seems as though the team that maybe has the more aggressive players would be thriving in that best ball. Like, I would think DeChambeau would be great in that format. You have a guy that's steady, that, like I know he's been trying to drive the first hole. For those that are familiar with Bethpage Black, the first hole, it's a hard dogleg right. And there's trees essentially blocking the dogleg. Well, he's trying to go over the entire thing, which sounds like a DeChambeau sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But, hey, if you're partnered with somebody that you know is going to be accurate, you're going to have them tee off first. Oh, look, you're right in the fairway. Great. Now I'm going to try to go over the trees and see if I can get all the way up by the green. So I tend to love that afternoon session a little bit more because you tend to get more aggressiveness and creativity and maybe more birdie action that can swing holes in terms of the overall score of the match.
Well, I guess it'll be interesting to see how they start then tomorrow. I saw odds on who would hit the first ball for the U.S., and it was a tweet about DeChambeau and how maybe somebody knew it would be him, and the odds plummeted, like they were really high at one point. And so maybe people know that it's going to be him. He is in the first group. And so I guess to your point, Brian, they'll have to decide whether they want him to go for it on one. And if he misses, he leaves Justin Thomas in the trees or something to start the tournament. Yikes. Or, they just sort of put one out there.
Yeah, I wonder. And also, too, there's definitely been, research and them looking at the numbers of, okay, at the par threes, like who do we want teeing off on the par threes? Because essentially with alternate shot, it's not necessarily who finishes the hole that starts the next one. It's Thomas will either hit on the evens of the odds to tee off, and then DeChambeau will do the other evens of the odds. So it doesn't matter who finishes the hole, especially because they give putts in match play. So they're doing some strategy of who do we want to hit on the threes, maybe who do we want to hit on the par fives, and then figure out, okay, these two together end up having a good matchup, or, maybe, hey, there's a really, really difficult approach shot on this hole. Is somebody better with their longer irons or something like that? So I'm sure all the numbers they've crunched and they've tried to figure out maybe who plays better with who in terms of that setup. So, yeah, I'm seeing Thomas and DeChambeau. I mean, it's 2 fiery names for the U.S. to go out right away with, and they're facing Rahm and Hatton. That's also a pretty fiery group for Europe. So early fireworks on hole 1 to start tomorrow morning bright and early. I love it.
I'd shoot 5 under with DeChambeau in 4-ball. I think we would shoot 5 under.
Who's
You
we?
and him.
Me and DeChambeau.
You and DeChambeau?
Yeah. I mean, he would almost never need one of my shots.
I think that's probably right.
But, we'd probably go pretty low, I think. Yeah. Who is... Sorry?
Is this at Beaver Island or
Anywhere. Anywhere.
Let's get him over to Delaware Park. I'll take a run at him.
I'd let him tee off on 1.
See if we can get over those trees on 2.
That'd be fine with me. Oh, 2. I mean, how do you not lose a ball? Brian, who are a player or two that maybe this is the most important weekend for? What kind of, with Tiger over the years, and this is a long time ago now, but we would always have the same conversations about him before Ryder Cup. Like, is he really into it? And then he would often he wouldn't have his A game often at Ryder Cup. Are there players like that here? I feel like Europe is so solid and they've won so often. I read their roster and it's guys who I just think of as having great records at the Ryder Cup. I could be wrong, though. I might just be sort of assuming that. And the home team has won the last 5, so the U.S. has, won their last 2 played in the United States. Who are a couple players maybe this is the biggest for?
I think the U.S., I'm looking at what we would consider after Scheffler, the next set of big names that have not had good years. Schauffele, to me, if on paper, if you just said pure talent, I might pick him next. He had an injury to start the year, and then very, very disappointing after coming off of winning 2 majors last year. Like, I really thought, okay, Schauffele is now going to be like in that next tier after the, Schefflers and the McIlroys of the world. But he really kind of had a quiet year. Colin Morikawa, who's also a multi-major winner, can he come through for them? And I think, there was an argument to be made that Morikawa shouldn't have even been on the team. Ultimately, obviously, Keegan Bradley valued his experience and him playing in pressure spots early in his career that he decided to get picked. So those 2 players for me, on paper, because they have played in Ryder Cups before, like, can they come through here? Or do we kind of just get what we've seen before, which it sometimes is just kind of disappointing U.S. efforts from these players in these moments? Yeah, Tiger's record in Ryder Cups, not even close to what he's done individually. His singles record is decent, which, I guess you'd say kind of fits his mentality, right?
Yep.
Like, Tiger was always about beating the guy across from him when he had to really work together. A lot of times for his career, we always thought he was so, like, he didn't want to share secrets like he does now. Mm-hmm. Like, he talks with younger players. He was like, why am I going to share? He's like, I'm trying to beat him every week. So that team mentality, embracing it, like when it was Woods and it was Mickelson, a lot of times you always kind of questioned, like, how on board are the U.S. with truly maybe, being insightful with each other to have the best performance possible. And you're right. How much did they truly care? Tiger changed the way we watch majors now in golf because he made it all about those majors, and he raised those tournaments and those levels to the point where now, like, those 4 have become marquee events on the sports calendar because of it. How much do they truly care about the Ryder Cup? We know the European players, at least publicly, say all the right things about legacy and that this is just as important. Some of them say it's even more important than winning a major if they can have a storied Ryder Cup career. So a little bit different spin on that. I know Luke Donald, even yesterday during the opening ceremony, took kind of a shot at the U.S. because if you remember last year, it was Patrick Cantlay and a little Alexander Schauffele talking about these players getting paid. And Donald's whole speech was about legacy and, honoring the past and, hoping that we're motivating the future and it's something that money can't buy, and kind of just a little dig at guys like Cantlay and Schauffele that, again, how are they going to perform this week? Maybe I'd throw Cantlay in that mix too. This is an important week for him because he was right at the front about getting paid. He was even the guy that took criticism for not wearing a hat. He didn't,
yes.
Everybody said, oh, he's not a team player. He's not wearing a hat. Well, he said, oh, it didn't fit right. Like, I don't know. A lot of drama over that. But maybe I'll throw Cantlay in that mix to answer your question.
Even Scheffler, this is a while ago, and I don't think it pertained to the Ryder Cup, but I remember him saying once about legacy, like all the winning he's doing is like, yeah, in 100 years, nobody will care about any of this or remember any of us. So
right.
Big deal.
He said that during the season, maybe after winning a major. Like, he's just like, this isn't the most important thing in the world.
Not why I'm here.
Right. Brian, what did you make?
Way,
go ahead.
Real quick, and Europe has gone the other way. They have totally embraced the Ryder Cup experience, and Luke Donald this week have talked about in their locker room, in all their imaging and all their stuff that they have. It's the 4 years that Europe has won on road, a road Ryder Cup. They keep talking about that. Even this week, Europe's uniforms, for whatever it's worth, he said that they are drawing the 4 major colors that they used in the uniforms from when they won on the road. They are using that in their color scheme this week when they play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to try to inspire these guys to win on road soil. As you mentioned, the last 5 times, it's been tough to do it.
That's trying pretty hard. I mean, it sounds clashy too, by the way. But you're going to look at the 4 random colors, like, oh yeah, those are the 4 jackets we wore in 1995.
Yeah. I don't know anything about the 4 colors, but the plum colored quarter zip that Donald is wearing on TV right now, I'm going to tell you, I like the color of that.
You're a plum guy?
I don't think I've ever thought of myself as a plum guy. I'm just saying I like the look of that.
All right.
I don't know if it would look good on me.
Well, don't they have to sort of rule out red and blue immediately? Or they have the light blue, Europe, like the European flag. But
I mean, the European flag's got the royal blue and the stars, but they seem to have a little bit more liberty to flex the color wheel. You're right. The U.S.
We can't
pretty
wear
much,
green.
Right.
Although to be honest, like they've definitely embraced that, and obviously it's for marketing and merchandise and selling. But probably one of the most memorable moments in Ryder Cup history in our lifetime, guys, was that Justin Leonard. What was that? 99, right?
Brookline,
He's running all over the 17th green.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're wearing probably the most hideous uniforms ever, and there's no red, white, and blue in those. They were like, purple and olive green and black, and it was a weird setup that week with uniforms for sure.
Might be time to go back to it.
Everything is red, white, and blue for the U.S.
Right. I wanted to ask you if you had a reaction, assuming you heard or read Brandel Chambly's comments about Bryson DeChambeau heading into this. I mean, we work in radio to a large extent. I can appreciate a hot take, but it has to be somewhat accurate to really make the cut. What did you feel about the things that Chambly said about Captain's Nightmare? He's only here promoting his YouTube channel, those kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chambly definitely is a hot take person for sure. He is definitely from the get-go. Anything that has to do with LIV, he has been negative from day one all the way through. So I think while others have maybe softened their stance, I guess I will give him credit in the sense that he right away was anti-LIV, and all the way to the end, if it's anything to do with LIV, he's anti that. So I guess I can say he's consistent in that message. Mm-hmm. He definitely thinks that, these guys are all about making the almighty dollar and promoting themselves, not for the good of the game, and he probably feels like DeChambeau with his YouTube channel and doing all that sort of stuff kind of is in that lane. This is obviously all about team events, and I think, if you watch Golf Channel's coverage all week, I think they do an amazing job with covering this event, but it's a lot of over-analysis about team and together and all that sort of stuff, and for whatever reason, they feel like that Bryson doesn't fit that mold well. I'm sure if you ask U.S. players, maybe some of them would be, if you got him off the record, maybe lukewarm on what Bryson brings, but there's some of them I feel like he's just one of the rest of them too. So I guess with Chambly, I'm sure part of it is he's looking to get a reaction. And for Bryson, I know he commented on it and said, "Oh, did Brandel say anything, or did he say something or something like that?" So he's looking to deflect that too. But for Chambly, I guess it's on brand. He's been anti-LIV, and any player that's took the money from LIV right away, and he's sticking hard with that shtick the whole way through.
Brian, I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to watch this thing and look for you.
Good luck. There's going to be a lot of people there.
What? Hey, before you go today, I hope we get a chance to visit with you tomorrow. Well, if you can fit it in. What's the weather? I mean, it looks like it's been pretty wet and windy today, but of course they're not playing until tomorrow morning.
Yeah, they moved the opening ceremonies where they normally the two players. It's more of the pomp and circumstance sort of thing. They introduce everybody. They have music and. They moved that from what is normally the day before the Ryder Cup. They did it yesterday. Some of the players actually said they liked it better because they thought today they could focus a little bit more on prepping for the golf tournament and getting themselves ready to go. And maybe it's less longer of a day for them with all the commitments that go with it. I think in terms of the weather, today is the worst day. It looks like I've been checking Farmingdale, New York's weather all week. It looks like it's just going to be cloudy tomorrow morning. And then Saturday, Sunday at this moment, Saturday looks to be like partly sunny. And then Sunday it said like a slight chance of showers. But I don't know if that's an all-day sort of thing. I think they're hoping that maybe the worst weather of the week was today.
Thank you again, Brian. Enjoy the trip.
Thank you. And by the way, I dropped the ball because I thought of this like 10 minutes before we came on the air. I know normally we have our pick 10 for the majors. We should have taken the 24 players and drafted 8 each and see who gets the most points. And I apologize for even saying this on the air right now, but we dropped the ball. We should have done that. But
yes.
I don't know. Is it too late to do it off air? I don't know. But we should have incorporate that going forward for Ryder Cups. But
tonight. If we did it on like a DM thread or something, I could do it. I'd be in.
We could. 8 picks each.
I hate to pull Bulldog away from Tulsa King.
That's right.
But this is my town now.
If we can do it, I'm definitely game for it.
This is my town.
Thank you, Brian.
All right. I'll be in if you guys are in.
Okay.
I feel at a disadvantage because I haven't really done a lot of homework on this thing.
Well, same here.
I'll stop that now.
You think Brian will just give him the money without even playing? Just give Brian the money? Should we just give Brian the money?
It's Brian's Venmo. Let's just give him some cash.
Brian's out there like, oh, I have a great idea. Let's bet people golf. Let's make golf